Item number 1 is a presentation for the Sutter County Library. We have James Oshner. Welcome, James. Do what? That is, holy moly.
Mayor Harris, council members, thank you for allowing me to speak with you tonight. As you may know, maybe you don't know, some of you know me, I'm James Oxner. I'm the Director of Library Services for Sutter County. And maybe you also know that we celebrated 100 years of service in 2018. I believe the mayor was at one of our events for that. And this milestone, I think, is one that we can all be proud of. It's one that hopefully we can maybe build on to ensure continued support for lifelong learning in our community and well into the future. So a little background, the library is a county general fund department, which represents about 1.85% of the general fund spending of the county. And it makes up less than 1/2 of 1% of overall budget for the county. In the current fiscal year, the library has applied for and received grants and donations totaling a little over $328,000, somewhere in that area. And so, as you can see, also the thank you. The current projected budget is about $1.7 million. So obviously our largest source of funding is the County of Sutter. Other sources of funding and partnerships are on the slide there. I think the top one there is one of the biggest grants that we receive. It's a generous federal grant administered by the California Department of Education, which is a Workforce Investment Opportunity Act Title II Adult Literacy Grant. And then, of course, we have good support from the California State Library, California Library Literacy Services, which also help support our literacy program. And I can't move on without mentioning the Friends of Sutter County Library. And the others, there is support, sometimes financial, sometimes we're just kind of pooling resources and partnering on projects together. So these numbers kind of help tell a portion of the story concerning the relevance of the library to the community. We serve nearly 5,000 people in the community each week, so we have really heavy foot traffic. A lot of days we'll have 800 to 900 people through the door. Maybe on a quiet day we'll have 500. We have 44,000 active library card holders, and just over 300,000 books and other items checked out last year. Also, out the back door, we send about 38,000 items a year to libraries that we're doing interlibrary loan with. So that also is, I guess, it would be activity that people don't actually see. So it's going in and out the back door, and then we bring in about 40,000 items. A lot of that is because we are a partner library with Sacramento Public Library System. So anything that you see when you're on their online catalog, we're kind of sharing in a way, even though we have our own book budgets. So if you see something that's in a branch in Folsom or Woodland or one of the Sacramento branches, you just click on request and you can have that item sent here to Yuba City so that you can check it out here. So a lot of movement of materials in and out of the building. So our main branch is obviously in Yuba City. Had 3 homes previous to the current location, which was actually built in 1971 and then opened in 1972. So there have been really no major renovations or remodeling in the building other than new carpet, and we did ADA restroom remodeling a few years back. So other than that, the building pretty much is what it was when it first opened. Originally built to serve a population of 14,000, and now serving, as you know, I hope I got the population of Yuba City correct, but 66,860, growing toward maybe 70 here soon, huh? So nearly half of the Yuba City population holds an active library card. When I call it an active library card, that just means that these are cards that are being used. We don't keep cards on record just to say we have this many cards out there because people move away or whatever. We just delete a card if it hasn't been used for a certain amount of time, and then you have to get a new one. So we just like to make sure that we always have up-to-date figures about who's using the library and how many active users that we have. So we're kind of in the process of proposing to the community expanded services and efficiencies in this building through a redesign. This is a simplified version of the space usage at the Yuba City branch. It's very simplified. As you can see, it's kind of standard public area, staff workroom area. The staff workroom has a lot of potential and that we don't need that much space anymore. The only meeting room serves as a classroom, which is written into our grant for our literacy grant. So they have first dibs on that room at all times. So it's kind of difficult to lend it out to the community. And then the front desk, you can see is, maybe you can't really tell from here, but it's oriented so that when you come in the entry, you see the back of the staff instead of the front. So our staff doesn't really see who's coming in. Everybody's coming in kind of behind them. So in April 2018, Guadalupe Riveras, the senior civil engineer for Sutter County, he prepared and advertised a request for proposal for an architectural firms to do a space study, which would incorporate also an innovation center into the library. The top 4 firms that submitted proposals were scored and interviewed and visited by Guadalupe and also Arnaldo Rodriguez, who used to be with the city, and myself. So HGA was the group that was chosen. And then in September of 2018, they held a brainstorming session with library staff and HGA designers, along with Guadalupe and Arnaldo. And then in September 2018, the project, I guess, they sent us a kind of an updated proposal and a layout of what could possibly happen at the library. So this is the result of that. This is a bubble diagram produced by HGA. As you can see, it's much more detailed than the other one. And it addresses some of the issues that we've been concerned about. Desk placement the desk is reoriented toward the front door. We have also public meeting rooms added, so that the orange spots there, I think you can see it says meeting. Those are actually pushed into the back room area, and those would be for public use, as well as the technology on display or the innovation center, which would take up the space immediately when you walk in. You'd see kind of all of the newest technology that we're kind of excited to have, and that a lot of it's provided through the state library. So we have grants that provide things like virtual reality stations and 3D printing and that kind of thing. So that is, then just a few other minor changes that wouldn't be really structural, like moving the teen area from one corner to another, rearranging shelving, bringing shelving down lower so that you can see through the building a little bit better. And just some of those types of things, as well as moving our history room from its present location to where the staff break room used to be. Just gives a little bit more space, gives it a window, makes it a little bit more pleasant place for people to kind of look at some of the things we have in there. So I think it's kind of a nice plan. It reclaims space that was in the staff area before and now can be used for the public, and we don't have as much need as we use more technology. We don't really have as much need for all that staff space in the back. In fact, I think I was told that we were, I think the building when they first opened had 20 employees when they'd open every day. We open now with about 6 to 8. So quite a difference. We don't need all that extra space back there. So the project that we're hoping to do includes 5 phases, and we hope to get some support from the city, as well as we would have funding from the county library impact fees, as well as friends of Sutter County who have money that it's burning a hole in their pocket. So at this point, it's estimated that the project itself would probably cost around $1 million. The 171,417 is just to get started with the plans, and so we have already done one of the steps in that proposal.
James, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Can we go back one slide, please?
Yes.
On the left, to be your right bottom hand, your left bottom hand corner, where you have the adult and that center area. Is that going to be open space, or is that
Right.
for seating, or
It is open space right now.
Okay.
We have tables there for people to use for studying. One thing we like about the library, there's a lot of things we still like about it. So that it's a nice open feel when you walk in, a high ceiling, a big open space. And what we've ended up using that for is for programs.
Okay.
So in the summer, when we have summer reading programs, we often will have entertainers come on Thursday evenings, and the crowds often are 200 to 300 people. Okay. So we just move all the furniture out, and everyone kind of gathers in that space. So we don't want anything too permanent in the middle right there.
Because I saw everything labeled except for that center area.
Right.
I just want to say.
Right,
Okay.
and so even right now, it's not really labeled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So I'm more than happy to give personal tours to anyone who would like to come into the library. I'm glad to kind of show off what we do have. And Guadalupe's here tonight too, so if you have any questions, additional questions, or if it gets too technical for me, I just look at him and then Thank you.
Any questions?
Through the mayor. So you mentioned the 171. Can you go back to that slide, please? One more. There you go. For the preliminary work, it's proposed. Okay. So to pay them, is that what it is?
Right, so
what
that's
they've done?
for the construction documents. Do you want to talk a little bit more about what that all includes?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. Yes, Guadalupe Rivera with Senior Civil Engineer with Sutter County. Yes, the fee for that includes the total design for the architecture firm that'll get us through construction documents. So that would be a complete set of plans for the preliminary design that was shown now, that's shown as a bubble diagram.
Okay.
That would get us the complete design ready to go out to bid for that
to go
cost.
out to bid.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So where did you get the $1 million proposed?
So that is a estimate that we are considering as based on the preliminary diagram that was drawn up and discussions with the architect themselves as well. But we will be able to get detailed cost estimates as we proceed with the design if we are able to move forward in that direction.
And at this point, what has this been presented to the Board of Supervisors?
It has not. So this is our first opportunity to get before either the council or the board. Although we did present before the board when we went for the RFP for the architectural services.
Oh, okay. So James, when you mentioned that you have, which is a lot of people, I'm just really impressed, 5,000 people coming in through your doors. So is that to say, fair enough, just Sutter County, or is there people from Yuba County? I mean, where are all these folks coming from?
Right. I mean, the majority are going to be usually Yuba City, but we do have visitors from other places as well as Yuba County. So that's why I put the number of card holders, like
Yeah.
half of Yuba City has, because our total number of card holders is 44,000. The number of Yuba City card holders is around, I think 38,000, something like that. So, yeah, we do. And of course, out of town, people coming in from out of town.
No, very impressive. I mean, it'd be interesting to know what the Board of Supervisors consider this project, what their thoughts are on this project as well. So I would be happy to go on a tour and watch the whole process. I'd be more than happy to do that.
Happy to give tours.
I would, let me know and we'll do it.
Sure. Okay.
Thanks.
All right, we have one speaker card from Linda Baker. Thank you, Linda.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. I'm Linda Baker with the Friends of the Library. We are a 39-year-old nonprofit organization with 120 members that supports library programs and staff through fundraising and advocacy. Our vision is a thriving library that is a leading resource of information, recreation, and discovery that's accessible to all. Our major source of revenue is proceeds from sale of donated books in our Bookends alcove and book sales the first Saturday of most months. And we sell those books at 25 cents a piece. Later on, I'm going to mention the figure of $50,000. And as I wrote that, I thought to myself, that's somebody schlepping around 200,000 books to raise that $50,000. We financially support a variety of programs such as summer reading and have 50,000 waiting to support the future needs of the library. We are also the umbrella nonprofit for the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. I don't know if you're aware of that. Children enrolled in this program receive a free book by mail each month until their 5th birthday. I'm here tonight to invite you to join the Friends of the Library and encourage you to stop by the library next week, which is National Library Week. We will be treating the staff to lunch as our thanks to them. Please add your thanks to the professionals who serve our community with an amazing degree of knowledge and courtesy. The Library Week theme this year is Libraries Equal Strong Communities. The Friends of the Library couldn't agree more. I do want to mention I happened to stop by the library about 10:30 this morning, and it was just kind of thrilling to me to listen to the buzz. If you don't go to the library, you need to go there. It's not a place of hushed rooms and crabby old ladies telling people to be quiet. It's just this wonderful little buzz of sound. Grandmothers and grandchildren in the children's section, the reference librarian helping people find something they need, people sitting shoulder to shoulder at computers, solving problems together. It is just a magical place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else from the public care to comment on the item? All right. Well, thank you very much, James. I appreciate the time.